Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
You know, XRP certainly in my mind is used long term for all the money. That's the purpose of it. And when I think about the role it could play for the world, it could play as a bridge currency between the government fiat dollars of the world to help relieve the friction to be able to settle these markets. And more importantly, because that's where the velocity of money comes from, alleviating that friction with that bridge currency there. But as the bridge currency becomes more and more in demand and more in use, the more liquidity moves on to that network servicing that bridge currency. I think what you could see at one point is a real mass adoption happening outside of the market makers, like, you know, the remittance companies of the world, and moving into more of the banking system, serving larger payments, so forth, so on and so forth. But, you know, one of the most important things about this that gets talked about, but not as much as the friction, which is alleviating the pre-funding of more than $25 trillion that is locked up to service these cross-border transactions. Now, you imagine unlocking that money, which is obviously really in demand, because look at the current situation. Even if you want to, change some of these numbers around, it doesn't matter. We're still talking about an enormous amount of money. Well, take a look at this. This is Lynette Zhang right here, and she is talking with George Gammon. And what she's talking about in this clip here is about really the IMF, and really talking about how they have a vision for this world where you're going to see a couple different payment rails of two currencies to service the world, almost like a front end and a back end, like a retail use and a central bank wholesale back end use. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's only the use, right? What I'm suggesting here is we listen to this woman's perspective very quickly here and then move forward from there. All right, let's take a listen.
Are the world reserve currency. Easy transition. They've talked about having a retail SDR, which you and I would actually have access to, as well as a wholesale SDR, which is what governments and banks would have access to.
So you're under the impression...
And then George Gammon goes on to ask questions there. Big fan of George Gammon and his show, and I certainly enjoy listening to Lynette Zhang. Now, what I'll say is that shout out to Ian Benz here, who says, my thoughts are Stellar is the currency and XRP is the rails. Stellar will handle the world money, and XRP will handle all the money, assets, derivative, hence 50 billion tokens for Stellar, XLM, and 100 billion for XRP, one up, one down. Now, obviously, there are two different rails there, not to pick apart, Ian's thoughts there, but there are two different separate rails. But I think I understand his point, and I have said greatly that, Stellar is looked at more like a retail front facing, but it doesn't mean that they can't work wholesale back end, right? And certainly XRP could certainly work front end, and we see plenty of things going on that suggest there will be an enormous use over time in the wholesale back end. To that tune, we know Stellar is also working with launching central bank digital currencies as well as Ripple is. So there's a lot to be taken in here. But the reason I'm showing this is because, one, we highlighted what the problem is. And the problem is give or take a handful of trillion here, we have a huge debt problem, and we have a huge dollar strength problem with the global reserve currency. Getting into what a suggestion is or solution is offered here by Lynette, that she says she's hearing from the IMF and the direction and people from there. What do we know about the IMF? Well, we know for sure that the IMF has cited clearly that fintech and big tech and new non-bank players are entering the payment space, offering innovative services to regulated financial institutions and to consumers and merchants. We know Ripple right here has been focused on offering it to broadly wholesale back in. We even know Brad Garlinghouse has said this on stage. They are not consumer facing. Okay? Don't believe it, it's still true. Only a few new players aim to challenge established payment infrastructures like the clearinghouse, automated clearinghouse, TCH, real-time payments, these things that are cited, right? New platforms aim to compete with payment systems such as, right? And then it says here, for example, RippleNet provides the software, the rule book for transfer mechanism. It goes through the whole thing, functions as nodes, partaking consensus mechanism, yada, 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 virtual currencies, right? And maybe using distributed ledger technology as a platform. It goes on to show a diagram here of the transactions. What I want to show you is to come down through here and show you right in here is where they start talking about the Banking Service Company Act, which has been talked about in the recent act by Himes, which is really horrible that they're trying to put dictatorial power in Janet Yellen's hands at the U.S. Treasury. That bill needs to go away, right? And it doesn't look like it's going to, but it's a problem. So hopefully we can get the language changed inside of that. Now, going a little further here, I want to show you where they highlight other important agencies we cover here all the time that have to be a part of this transition to use this new digital protocols and tokens to service as a bridge asset to the government dollars and assets of value around the world without challenging them the way that Bitcoin actually did in the beginning. FDIC is an agency, the Federal Reserve, as we know, the CFPB, which is Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and other agencies cited here. FinCEN, which we've covered, which we know gave a 2015 judgment to Ripple and calling them, in fact, a virtual currency, right? So we will see how this shakes out with the SEC. But going on here, I do want to highlight here, there's other agencies in respect to this that are highlighted when it comes to non-bank institutions that can help with payments and modernizing them and bringing them up to date and getting us off of the 1970s technology that is currently the foundation of the infrastructure for payments currently today. It cites here, systemically important by the FSOC. I'm telling you, I've been saying this for a couple years now about FSOC and about how they oversee the domestic financial system, and OFAC, the regulatory agency as well, connected to the Treasury, seeing the foreign sanction side of these things in policy. You know, again, citing the Federal Reserve and FinCEN here, it goes on to give a special section specifically to discuss RippleNet. Right? So when we hear somebody like Lynette talking about a two-currency solution, I don't quickly dismiss it because I know for a fact the IMF is talking about RippleNet, which uses 25% of their volume of payments. They're using XRP to settle already. Already. That's not a guess. Then I think in terms of new payment system, we know that Russia is really highly considering invading Ukraine. We watched them do it in the, Obama administration, take the Crimea waterport, right? And now we're looking at possibly another invasion here into Ukraine. And if they do, they are thinking ahead and saying, we don't want to deal with sanctions from the United States by cutting off money and access to payments through SWIFT. So the Kremlin revealed back in December of last year that they have a new independent system with Russia and China, and it's a financial system. All of this is leading credence to the pressure that the IMF is putting on El Salvador, saying, you better knock it off calling Bitcoin money. They're not liking it, and they're doubling down. And then you have Russia, which just said they were going to ban crypto, backs up, and now President Putin says, we support the proposal to regulate Bitcoin and crypto mining, right? So now they're going to regulate it because they understand you really can't ban this kind of technology, right? It's too much of a job. You're better off to embrace it and regulate it. And the question now is can they get the ball across the line here and get the job done that they don't stifle innovation in the United States of America because they're serving political interest because of deep pocket lobby money coming from the banking world. Don't believe it. It's still true. Hate to break your heart, but listen here. Just because the Dems are in control right now, what I'm saying applies across all aisles. Because I don't care if it was the other side that had the power right now. It's still true. Banking money and pharmaceutical money is your largest lobby donors, period. And if you don't think they haven't given the same amount of money relative one side or the other aisle, you're from planet Xanadu. And what we're witnessing right now is politicians trying to serve that deep lobby money. That's what I believe we're witnessing. Oh, brother. Looking right here, here's a plea from the right side of the aisle, would they be doing this if they were in power? I don't think so, because they had a chance to get this right the last time too, and they didn't. However, it's a talking point. It's a political point. It's a political talking point. So here we are. This is them writing a letter to try to get this right about Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act and the things that got wrong there, and not to get this wrong and how important this all is, and it's signed by the relative people in here. We get it. We understand this political posturing and action, which is action. And to keep Innovation in America Act has got to be fixed with that verbiage, allowing Janet Yellen and the U.S. Treasury to have dictatorial power over crypto and our privacy, actually. All right, enough of that. I'm putting the soapbox away. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. This is Tone Vase with Max Kaiser. 2 Bitcoin maxis. It's a wonder it didn't snow where they were. Let's take a listen to the first 30 seconds here.
We have about 10 seconds. Gary Gensler is still on hold about determining whether Ethereum is a security or not. How do you weigh in on this?
I always believe Ethereum is a security. I did a podcast on that back in 2017, and so did Gary Gensler. Taught a course at MIT explaining why Ethereum is a security. We'll see what happens with the Ripple case. If the SEC loses the Ripple case, SEC is in trouble in enforcing anything. And I believe Gary Gensler wants to bring action against Ethereum, but it is very, very challenging.
All right, Tom. Well, there you have it. And, like I said, even a broken clock's right twice a day. He's got this one right. Ethereum is a security. He's also got it right that Gary Gensler actually did teach MIT classes, and he did say that he believed Ethereum was a security. But yet we have seen nothing from him. I don't know what leadership looks like at your house, but I know it doesn't look like Gary Gensler at mine. Let's take a look at what real leadership looks like. I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like you're forging forward and making new partnerships regardless of being sued by the SEC, which is currently talking out both sides of its mouth, claiming that the William Hinman speech is personal opinion, but when it suits them legally, they're also saying that it's actually SEC guidance. That's what they've done since 2018 when that speech has come out, is they accepted it as guidance. They referenced it as guidance. It's we and our and all of the things that let you know. And if you want to know more about how we handle digital assets at the SEC, go read the speech by William Hinman. This is the kind of actions we've seen. And now the court in the SEC case, the judge doesn't see doesn't hear our, doesn't hear directing people and companies and businesses and projects to go read the speech, while Ethereum gets to launch billions of dollars worth of projects off of its network. Something's wrong there too, but something's right here. This is Alpha Exchange brings its customers to convenience, safety, and security of real-time cross-border payments through a new partnership with Ripple. Let's take a look at it right here. That's Naveen Gupta on the left from Ripple, and he's awesome. Speaking with the gentleman right here, doing the celebratory handshake and sharing of the signing of the contracts, it looks like right here. Alpha Exchange brings its customers the convenience and safety and security of real-time cross-border payments through a new partnership with Ripple here. I tell you, they have been exploding in the Middle East here, tying in this partnership with Alpha joining Ripple cloud-based global financial network RippleNet Cloud, and allow Alpha's customers to remit international money in real time at any time of day all year round. That's what we're talking about here, right? That's what we're talking about. Same thing the IMF's talking about, right? this network-based application service such as RippleNet. It's the IMF, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And this is Ripple continuing to move forward with it. What lawsuit? Yeah. Let's hear from Charles Gasparino here from Fox News and listen to what he's got to say about a lawsuit and IPO in the same year.
ProShares Bitcoin strategy, or BITO, is flat on the session. And the price of XRP, right now relatively unchanged at around 62 cents, but the value of Ripple nearly doubling in the last 24 hours after the company announced a Series C buyback from shareholders. Ripple's latest valuation, $15 billion, a major milestone for the company that currently is tied up in a pretty contentious battle with the Securities and Exchange Commission. To Charlie Gasparino with more on what this could mean for the case and for Ripple.
Yeah, and Liz, we do have some breaking news from the company is telling Fox Business exclusively that if they do win this case, and they say part of the reason why they're buying back the shares, the private shares, is because they feel very confident they're going to win the case, is that they plan on going public right after the verdict comes in. So they're telling us this exclusively. They believe their chances are very good. Obviously, it's they may be talking their own book here, but clearly there's a lot of tongues wagging about why they would just go turn around and issue XRP, which is kind of their native currency. They say it's not related to Ripple, but the Ripple founders created the XRP, the cryptocurrency. They're selling that, and they're selling that to both pay their legal bills and presumably to buy back these shares. And, it caught the market by surprise yesterday. We were probably the only major outlet that reported this. We were first to report it yesterday. And it values the company, they say, at $15 billion, which is a good thing. But people are looking at this a lot of different ways. They're saying, oh, maybe they're buying it back to limit their liability to outside investors if they should lose the case. When we asked Ripple, they're like, no, we feel very confident. We believe we're buying it back because we're confident in our position. And guess what? As soon as we win, we're going public. Ripple does have an all-star team of lawyers. Everybody from Mary Jo White to Professor Grunfest. They got them. They got major firms. Debevoise, Plimpton, you name it. They're there. They're on Ripple's side to fight the SEC case, which essentially says the XR.
And there you have it. And shout out to DAI and Nick Burafedo from link2.com for that. I think it's so exciting to hear the kind of strength that they are putting off about this case being resolved and them getting an outcome that they want that will not only let Ripple get back to business, but let XRP take off and serve in its full-scale intended use. That's what we're looking for here. And to begin to get the U.S. customer base the way we can, just the way we've been doing around the world, just like in the Middle East that we just looked at. Now, this right here from James K. Filan here, the SEC has filed a letter to supplemental authority in a further support of its motion to strike the fair notice defense. Now, we just saw them ask for the reconsideration of the judge to take a look at the DPP and the documents that are supposed to be handed over to Ripple. They're pushing in, they're digging their heels in, and hopefully the judge is just allowing every possible delay in appeal, so there's no chance every delay in motion because she doesn't want to put this case up to a place where it can be appealed, right? And that I think is a good thing. So I'll remain glass half full as far as that goes. But this is one more attempt here by the SEC to go after the fair notice defense now, which if they get the document that the judge has said that they can have, it may be some exculpatory information in that really helps drive the fair notice defense itself. So this is something to continue to watch very, very closely as we will. Now, let's talk about this. Institutional money versus retail money. And you and I are retail money. Take a look at these numbers here. Institutional crypto adoption in one image, 2021, 2020 trading and lending stats. Take a look here. Market activity snapshot, it says 130.6 billion 2021, up 587%, 12.5 billion 227%, 116, 463. You see the numbers here. 812% in derivatives notional value traded. those percentage jumps are enormous right there. And that's from Genesis, right? So that's just from Genesis. Imagine broadly for the whole market what we're talking about here. So this is pretty remarkable, but it made me think about two things. One, institutional money moves this market.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.